you, David.
That good stuff.
But question for you, David.
Mm.
Do you have a therapist? Are you seeing somebody?
Yes.
You know what prompted you to ask him that question? I mean,
No,
because that's not a thing in Barbados. Think about it.
no. I mean,
Yeah, expensive too.
a few months ago, I lost a really, really close friend. All y'all would know Michelle, but Darren wouldn't know her. And I felt like a huge part of me was ripped away. And somebody asked me if I'm seeing a therapist. I thought, a what? Therapist? Why? And as I asked the question why, I realized, oh, okay, yeah, I might need to. So something as simple as that, listening to David, listening to John, listening to Ricky. Never heard Ricky say that before, no. At some point, you have to have some kind of release. There must be something. I mean, all right. For the sake of information, John mentioned the Beach Cabinet, and everybody might not know what the Beach Cabinet is. But it was a group that he and the late Boo husband started. And it was just about men getting together. I mean, men, there was no purpose behind it, just men.
Book our lunch.
That too. Bring
Listen,
food, bring
John,
drinks.
I
Okay.
heard about the Trina.
Hog
So I
is
think
make
I need to speak to Ian about this Trina. But anyhow,
He can tell you,
continue.
you may be able to get out of him though. But
it's so good that the tuna had to go up to a Trina.
A Trina.
yeah. But the comments that I would hear is a bunch of men getting together. It gotta be about sex. And I'm being nice right now. Usually where like it was really, really derogatory because the comments would come from like there'll be a jam by Boo's shop.
Mm-hmm.
The women would be there, the women would be included, but then as it goes into 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, a lot of men are left and very few women. And those women are usually the ones that love being around men. The comments would come from them because they like being included with the men. But the men just want to get together between men. When you hear a bunch of men getting together or something going on there that shouldn't be going on. When a bunch of women get together, oh Lord, girls night out, whoop, 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 holla, whoop, 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 good for them. And the Beach Cabinet was that.
Women rougher than the men.
Yeah. Yes.
When I was a real man and understand things, I used to call about 3 or 4 women and go, tell me the truth about so and so and so and so, and this and that. Find out from them. Don't listen to men. Men don't know where you want to know about what women do. Ask them.
Yeah, and Sharon has this knowing smile on her face.
You always know. I can tell you what we do to blah 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 blah. You tell me what. Yeah, I think that if everybody treats each person with respect, everything gets through. And David, you've been on a couple of Love Day things that we do at Christmas. I've been in for the last 13 years. I've been in households with people that have had nothing to eat for days, with children and stuff and thing. And yeah, I had one woman in down in the top of Bathsheba, Joe's River area, and I took Donna with me that Love Day, and she had a shack that she was in. It was about maybe I would say 10 feet by 8 feet, and 5 people lived in there on some mud.
Wow.
And I've been in places in the Pine and stuff with me and Terry on Christmas Day, because after my wife died, Christmas Day is just another day. And we took a hamper inside and I opened the cupboard to put the food in, and there was nothing. And I asked her, when last you had something to eat? And she had 3 little children. She must have been about 25. And she told me 2 years ago. So what you can do, you go in the car and get 2 more hampers. While my brain is going, I know I'm only plug in a hole for 3 days. You know, and we drive all around. We've driven all around the entire island for the last 13 years doing this. And not that you think that government does nothing, but you do. And I was talking to, and he said that he was at a discussion with some government people, and he was trying to get certain taxation things in place where the gap between the haves and the have-nots needs to be narrowed. It needs to be narrowed so that you can raise the non-tax income a little higher, and then you can put an additional tax on people who make over $100 a year. You know what I mean? Like what are you going to do? You know, but we live in a world of greed, and there's so many men and women that live for money. There's no, I've seen them. I can tell people's spirits within 5 seconds. Like David, I'm a very spiritual person. I can look in a person's eyes and know exactly who they are in 5 seconds. And the world we live in and the country that we live in is not the country that I grew up in. The generation above us, the ones that I see are still there. They still have that. They still have that empathy, right? Maybe some in my generation, like the ones that we are here talking about now. But the younger generation are at a crossroads that I can understand why. And I figure, Sharon, if you know what the stats are, the age group that is taking their lives, 30 plus, younger. Yeah. I remember I did a campaign for NICE, National Initiative of Excellence, or was it the other one? The one who like the child care board, and then would have fallen under that. And that was 15 years ago. And the people from the child care board, and I don't know if it was NICE. There were 2 that I had done PSAs. And these 2 ladies came up to the studio with me and Annie Lohar. And there's absolutely nothing in this life that I have not done. I have done drugs that I don't even know what the names are. I've with every single thing I have done, everything wrong, right, so that I could then tell my children, you don't have to make that mistake. I made it myself.
Correct.
And things I've seen people get shot in nightclubs when I was 10 years old and crap. People stabbed the thing. I've come up on the street basically because of my choice of job. But the things that these 2 women told me, David, and you know what I'm talking about, that you and I come up that same way, right? They ain't got nothing that way. The things that they told me, that like mothers pimping out their 12-year-old daughters to 2 and 3 in the night and thing in order to eat. The same girl down in Joe's River, I asked her, how did she get here? And I know she got 4 children. And all men promised her, you know, if she get them sex, they would pay a bill and thing, you know what I mean? And these is what I call, these are dogs. They're not men. But these are the challenges that they face. The thing is that, as David said, we come up where we got that kind of strength and grounding that we could deal with that. Like all of us would have had those thoughts, you know, I can clock out. You know, I can be honest, like 4 or 5 years after my wife died, I was like, I never this, you know, man. I you know, let's fight in day to day to try and get through. I had enough of that. And then my life changed. But the generation after us,
yeah.
Are you seeing it, right, D? Them got nobody above them showing them the tricks, how our parents showed us or how our friends showed. I had friends that would look at me and go, my mom, you freaking out, you want her lash? Yes. Check yourself. And I would go on there with David Jordan and my friend, what you would tell me, so let me check here, yeah. And then go, you know, and then call you and go, listen, D, I understand what you're talking about. But they don't have that. They don't have the
that support system.
They don't have the siblings, or they don't have the friends, the peers that are put them in the right way.
Mhm.
Not only that,
Challenge.
you also is let's go even saying that something is even more basic. We talk about getting, brother said that English is a foreign language and people laugh, right?
Rough.
But think about this here. Where would children for the last 15 years or 20 years hear proper English?
See, for me, it was that. Revision.
Hello.
I was gonna for me. That is a gold chain hanging ready fusion. Good
No,
Lord.
refusion is brass. But it's refusion.
That one torn at me, man.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with that. With the penetration of technology now, there are more younger people hearing standard English than there were in your times.
Oh,
No, but
where are they hearing it?
They're choosing what they want to hear. I've heard again, whenever I see Adrian Green, I like to sit down and talk to him. He teaches primary school, and he said that there are times when he has to speak Bajan dialect. Otherwise, the children don't understand what he's saying when he speaks English. He makes sure that his children hear audiobooks. So somebody's speaking proper English as they're reading from a book. We heard that in Radio Fusion. We heard BBC. We heard all kinds of things. We heard Alfred Pragnell, Frank, all this kind of thing.
Right.
But with the technology, Darren, they're choosing what they want to hear, and what they're choosing does not always have proper English.
It's not standard English. So so when we want them to write, you ever try writing dialect?
Yeah, I do it. The thing is, we don't want to lose dialect. We don't. I speak raw Bajan when I'm in circles with Bajans.
Correct.
And that's who I am. But if I am in front the Consul General of Sweden or somewhere, or I'm at a show doing something, or I'm in a government office, I speak perfect English.
Exactly. But you have the ability to switch.
I can switch.
My thing is, even if they can't switch, you got to think about it. They can. We as Barbadians, first of all, because of, and I guess it's because of our history, and I guess because of our history, we are shy. You got to push us to get our action out of us normally.
Yeah.
But I find that a lot of people cannot communicate properly, and it's frustrating them. Yeah, take it from me. I have a situation now where I am mentoring an upholsterer out here. He came to me 5 years into his thing. He said, "Mr. Jordan, I have worked every day of my life." I said, "Well, I'm going to show you how to save your money and thing." This boy now has an account at Royal Bank, an account at Public Workers. And check this here now. Every invoice that he needs done, I do. When I need to get the information for the invoice, he has a book with all of his clients' information, which the client writes in.
Wow.
Sure.
They are functional, and we got a lot of them. Talk to Sandy Fields. We got a lot of them.
I support
some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them I know them because I got a couple of young men that I deal with. You know immediately once you talk to them. The challenge that our society has is that we need to do a serious, we need to, not like what Sandy is doing. Sandy is, I mean, God bless her heart. in her small ways doing, but I think nationally we need a remedial program in English first of all, and then in maths and numeracy. We got too many people who cannot even head up, write their name properly or anything. This is a serious problem. And because I'm mentioning all of these things where I started, but there's so many different ways to go and look at this. If you cannot express yourself properly, you are more prone to be an introvert, and they're not going to share. You got to go and pull things out of fellas. Those fellas, they don't come and volunteer any information. And we got a lot of men, especially men. I can't talk about the women, but especially the men walking around like that. And I'm not talking about anybody middle class, and I'm talking about in the lower echelons of society. So that's why I said it's you have to. There's a holistic way we gotta look at this. There's so many levels to address this problem of mental health. But
you know, you are so right. I mean, over the years, the last how much years? 20 plus odd years, I have read so many resumes that the English, the written English, is such that, you know, it has to be the spoken English. And even in 2023, because I deal with a lot of teenagers and stuff as well who are in good secondary schools and things. And sometimes I use certain words and they tell me, I gotta look up this word, or they ask me what this word means, because they're so accustomed to SMH and all these short things and texting and all this different stuff that they can't speak regular English. I have had university lecturers say to me that sometimes when they're correcting papers, because the young people are so accustomed to the short things when the texting and stuff, they actually write this stuff in university papers.
Yeah.
I've had lecturers tell me that. I remember growing up, I mean, I will not say what school I went to, but I went to older secondary school. And I remember growing up, and this has nothing to do with school. I just decided it was important for me to know words. And I had a dictionary, I had an Oxford dictionary. My parents had bought me a thick dictionary. And every time I looked up a word, I used to put a tick next to it. And sometimes I would just sit down and look through the dictionary just to be able to know certain words. But that came about because I used to read.
Yeah.
I used to read.
Big key.
My eyes are probably bad now because the amount of times that I would be in my bedroom, light barely on, because my parents expect me to be sleeping and like reading a book, because that was how life was for me. I used to go to the library. I'm old enough to remember when the library for schools was in a bus. I used to go through in front and come back through the back. But we used to read. My mother used to make sure that we sat down and we read books so that we would know words. A lot of people don't read now. Read what?
It's a big thing. I think that to answer to go back to your whole thing about mental health, right? Ian sent me a WhatsApp today and said that this some statistic is that men are 75% more likely to commit suicide than women, and I'm not surprised. I think part has to do with how we are raised, our culture. This whole thing, as John was saying, that we, train to basically suck it in and deal with it. It is something that we've seen our parents do. Some parents didn't handle things quite well. They would beat the wives and that sort of thing. And I always was very clear in my mind I was never hitting my wife or my child. because I knew what it felt like to be hit in anger. And if you're not raised in an environment of love and somebody that you can talk to, that's how I raised my children. I mean, I talk to my children about everything, and not now. I mean, from the time they was in their teens, I talk about everything. I took my daughter so that she know what her smell like, what it look like. So I am that sort of parent. My sister showed my daughter how men is use condoms and show me explain that. I believe information. I've always been like that. Give them the information so that they can make informed decisions. We are fortunate because most of us here, if not all, come out of middle class families. There was a certain set of values, certain set of expectations. We, well, like John and I, who were in that music world, we've seen a lot. Seen a lot. But at the end of the day, if there is no coping mechanism, or if there are no tools that young people, old people can use or adapt, you're going to have much more of these incidents. And I see the suicides connected to the level of vagrancy, to the level of mendicancy, because we raised a whole generation that with the hands out. I find that with the girls are like, the roles like the change. The girls is like the ones the hunters now, and the fellas, the fellas is like, you gotta throw it up and hope that you get, you get one that really got his head screwed on. Mm-hmm. So I think going back to what Ricky, I think was saying about school. I left school in 5th form. The girls had just come into 6th form, but I wasn't raised with the environment, when the girls came up, through through 1st form. I didn't know what that was like. I didn't know what it was like, as Ricky was saying, you go outside and you're sweating, you can't sweat because you got the girl, you came back into form. I never had that experience. But I think we have to look, as I said, holistically at all of these different aspects of our lives and realize what is happening on the ground, and what was a subculture 20, 30 years ago is now our culture. These values have been adopted by a lot of young people. I listen, I deal with young people in business. Young people approach business in a completely different way to how we approach business. I mean, I started a furniture business with one of my son's friends. I will never forget this. And I go and do my business plan, and I sit him down. I say, well, look, this is how it goes. Blah, blah, blah. I spent about 2 hours explaining him all the intricacies of the finance, the marketing, all the sales, how we going to do this, the manpower plan. And you know what he tell me at the end? He said, Mr. Jordan, all the respect to you, we're going to have 2 expenses. I said, hey, you're looking mad like he's a mad, but I spent 2 hours here talking, you hold this thing going on. I said, listen, I said, with me 2 expenses. So what labor? What about labor? You got to employ people. I said, no, this is how we doing it. Everybody that I hire is on a job basis. You call it job costing, everybody get paid by the job. So they ain't no NIS, they ain't no nothing. I said, so what about inventory? You go to buy stock and things. He said, no, Mr. Jordan. No. You told me something about something called just in time. Yes. So what we're gonna do is when we are going to do a job, we're gonna order the wood that we need. I said, well, you're gonna need a place to operate from because you can't operate from my garage. I said, listen, my mother got a little shed. I'm gonna extend it out and build on. I ain't gonna take everything down there, and we're gonna be working out there. We ain't gonna think whatever the increase in the electricity bill is, we gonna pay that for the money that we get on a monthly basis. It's a whole different ecosystem, a whole different way of thinking. They ain't no NIS. You and I and Ricky and all this that we paying into this, that you wasting your time. I telling you no. I'm telling you no. We are
Really,
David, people in a whole different way.
The ability to learn a system. I don't know if I guess that can contribute to mental health. If you learn the system, you know how to exist in it. That is the contributor. But there are many other factors. I don't think that's one of the more important ones. Learning the system.
I think we can have to do some other parts to this and explore, because as you know, John or whoever said from the beginning, the subject is a big subject.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the fact that we have started talking about it is important, because somebody had to start the conversation, a meaningful conversation. So we can come back to this once y'all are willing to be willing participants again. And I want to thank you guys for the honesty and for some of the things that y'all said, because some people would never admit to flaws and, you know, weaknesses. And I think it's important that y'all share that, because it means that other people will be willing to come forward. You know, the whole point of this is to try to get the stigma surrounding mental wellness, counseling, as Ian spoke about, all these different things erased so that we can start saving this society. So thank you guys so much. So y'all coming back, right?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Once we get sufficient notice. Once I get sufficient notice, yes.
Blame Ian, but we gotta come back to this. I believe that we're on the right path. So thank you. I think this was an important conversation, not only for the men, but for the women. There are women out there raising boys. There are women out there who may be belittling men and contributing to anxiety and, you know, lower self-esteem, etc. So there's a conversation we will continue definitely. So thank you very much. So thank you for joining us today on the chat. And if you like our videos, subscribe to our channel so that you can receive that alert once we've posted another one to share with you. Until then, Perry out.